In a world where Hollywood movies have sucked for over a decade, two men have done the unthinkable. They've started their own production company from nothing. Welcome to Unpacked.
All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to Unpacked, the latest episode in our podcast series following myself, Matt, and my good friend Jason, as we start our own indie film studio and set off on our journey to make a movie. Welcome.
Yes,
We've both had kind of an exciting week or two.
we have. Yeah, was it 2 days ago? No, it was yesterday. Was it yesterday? No, it was like a few
2 days ago. It was
Man.
2 days. I know.
Yeah.
That's the kind of couple weeks we've been having. I guess first we can update everyone on the status of our main, focus, our main course, our effort to make a move, fund and make a movie.
We have successfully optioned 5 of the 6 finalists. We're waiting on the 6th one, but we have agreements in place with all of them.
Yes,
or 5 of them, and we're excited.
we're very excited.
It's great.
And I already, at least one of them. We're going to have a conversation with the 6th one, which is very normal. Like, I think he's just got a couple of kind of basic questions about the agreement and what happens, if the film's not funded and all that kind of stuff. The same questions actually a lot of the folks have had up to this point. But everyone's been, once we've chatted with everyone, everyone's been great and excited. Probably they can't wait to jump on a call with all of us to kind of meet each other and
that should be fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And then you have all but finished. There's still a little bit of spit shine left to do, but you have all but finished our Indie Film Fund site, which is very exciting. Which is where our films are going to live, and as we've talked about in past episodes, where other films from other directors or hopeful filmmakers might come to live as they try to raise money either for a short or for a feature. As we build our community, but I think maybe one of the most exciting developments is that one of our finalists had already written the primary role for a friend of his who is an influencer, a comedic actor who has a really large following.
So we're excited about that.
Yeah, very excited, because that's the kind of connection that we hope to make for all of our finalists. It's nice that one kind of already came packaged with that, to try and help us.
Most definitely.
Drive attention.
And
to
what
the
were
site.
what were the follow numbers for the person?
I think it was
actor?
like 9 million.
9 million. Yeah,
like a lot.
That's
a lot.
nothing to sneeze at. That's for
Not
sure.
at all. Not at all.
That is a lot of influence.
It's a lot of eyeballs, what we're hoping is that as we find attachments for all of our projects, that these people, the people that they draw in, don't just stick around to support their one person, but look and see the value of the other projects, and maybe support 2 projects, buy an advanced ticket for one of the other ones, or even another package with some merchandise or something.
Cross-pollination or something going on there.
I think that's what we'd really like to see, and build our community of movie lovers. But you've done a great job on the site. Like, it looks really cool. It's different than, like, say, a Kickstarter. Like, this is clearly built for a movie loving audience.
And we've even built in functionality to allow folks to, like, attach artists, basically above the line crew, if you will, as well as cast. And then you can also mark or designate some of those folks as aspirational or actually attached. So as the projects develop and people get attached, you can kind of turn those off and on, and they'll show up in in the project page. And
Well, I have a person that I hope to. It's a little bit older than what's in the script, but there's someone that I'd like to attach for one of the horror offerings that we've got.
which
She's
one?
really
We've
good.
announced the
and
name,
as
so
oh, we did. That's right. We have. We've announced the
Yeah.
name. So for Bleak Oblivion, I've got someone
Okay.
in mind.
Okay.
So
He's out here in Texas.
yeah.
The
So
writer.
the writer. So
It's
but
funny.
that's-
I met him from someone out here. I met him through a mutual connection. Interestingly,
yeah, we chatted with him before we even launched the competition, and
Yeah.
little did we know how good his script was, but
Yeah.
it was excellent. It was really
Yeah.
good.
Well, he had been
Um,
working on that '80s kind of monster film. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
We saw. It was like, I don't know if it was a short, but it was like a 5 or 6 minute
almost like a
kind of teaser.
like a proof of concept kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's not all we've been doing the last week, which is why it's been kind of so crazy. I was super excited to be back on set and actually shooting something,
Producing,
directing,
yes.
writing. Yeah.
Did you get to direct at all?
I did. It was
Oh.
great. So
I didn't know that. I thought.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were actually like.
I
yelling
directed
action.
the way that the actually for me the AD who was we had a great AD. So I guess to fill everyone in, one of the projects I was working on with Flashback Pictures, the company that I work for, is a vertical format series. So, I think we've mentioned vertical format series on the podcast before, but if we haven't, it's kind of like the latest hot trend in filmmaking, and a lot of it kind of originated in China, where it's huge.
Yeah.
The market for vertical has already outproduced the theatrical market, which is cinema in China is huge. It's unbelievable. It's billions of dollars.
Yeah.
And so basically you're watching a movie, but the movie's broken up into scenes, essentially. Like they've broken the scenes up into 1 to 3 minute kind of little episodes, they call them, but chapters would probably be, whatever it would have been called on a DVD. They've got these segments, and they give you so many segments for free, and then you hit a paywall, and then you pay to watch the rest. And the business is huge. Now, anyone who's watched some of these verticals, or if you hear this and then you go and look, at some of these Chinese-owned companies, Reel Shorts, Drama Box, the product there is a very
much different.
yeah, it's very melodramatic. Like I hesitate to use this word because I don't want to denigrate the art form that they've created. Like, but it's a bit kind of trashy, right? Like it's but kind of on purpose. Like it's a lot about cheating. It's a lot about revenge. It's a lot about
love triangles.
Love triangles, money. And the titles are kind of so on the nose, like like my I married my
like
billionaire
the one
boss.
I sent you the other day.
Oh yes, DILFs.
Yes.
Isn't it just called DILFs? Like that's the
and then there's 3 hot guys
dudes
on the front. Yeah, it was
I think it's dads. It's like
was
MILFs,
it dads?
But it's dads. It's DILFs.
But they didn't look like dads. They looked like like beefcakes. They were like
no, that's the point. That's the point, though, Jason. That's the point, that they're beefcakes like that. So this is the type of product we're talking about. My favorite title so far is "Stop Crying, I Married Somebody Better." Is my favorite. That's a real title. I'm not making that up. Like, "Stop Crying, great. I Married Somebody Better." But
that's
so
great.
Now, though, this concept has kind of found its way into Hollywood, and Dan, who owns Flashback Pictures, went to a big conference, and he came away, kind of very excited with the potential. And so what Flashback was trying to do is try to take this concept and this format and, kind of alter a little bit the type of content that it is. So instead of doing the sort of, what I would call like kind of the trashy melodramas or whatever, this
I
is
would
more
call
like
it soap opera. It's like a soap opera.
Soap opera. They're like soap operas.
It's like daytime soap type of content and
Yes,
themes
with
and all that.
beefcakes, with a lot of
And
beefcakes.
and shot kind of in that same non-cinematic style, almost like that flat, you know.
Well, and to a degree,
Yeah.
you're almost locked into that a little bit, like because you're shooting in the vertical format, like everything is kind of like a mid or close, like which is kind of interesting. But what Flashback has done is tried something different. So what we made was a B horror comedy from the 80s is essentially
Yeah.
what we crafted over there, and we gave it a title very much like the titles that they have, something that would sort of tell people this is what you're going to watch, and ours is Pizza Guys versus Vampires. And so you can from the title you can tell exactly what you're going to get if you watch Pizza Guys versus Vampires. But it was a really cool experience. Like, we tried everything we could to level up what these other companies are doing in terms of the cinematography, in terms of the action, in terms of the dialogue, in terms of the production value. And like I've gotten a chance to see some rough cuts, and it looks great. I think it's going to be really exciting. But that parlays into another project that we have that you've started working like a mad dog
Yes.
on.
And I was surprised at how quickly I was able to move it forward. Well, to be fair, I simply forked the code that I had built for Unpacked House, and the screen submission platform that we built. So I took that code, and there's a lot of kind of infrastructure and services already baked into that. So like user management, being able to log in and log out, have a profile, update your photo, like that was all done. But essentially I was able to take that Indie Film Fund code base, fork it, which means basically copy it and start kind of a new branch, if you will.
Repurpose it a little bit.
Yeah, but kind of keep the underlying mechanisms in place. I was able to get a site up and running in about a half a day. Now, part of that is I've done this so many times to spin up
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
required Azure resources and get the DNS in place and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't take me very long anymore. But yeah, we have something up and running now, and
You want to tell people what it's called?
Inverted.film. So
Inverted.
we're building an inverted, a vertically formatted streaming service, and we call it Inverted. And it's the name is a little bit. It's got a couple components to it. Inverted meaning you're not watching it this way; you're inverting the phone.
Yep.
You're
From
watching it like you would a
16:9
TikTok.
to
Correct.
9:16.
From a wide
Yep.
format to a tall format.
Yep.
So you're inverting the screen, and the word, the first two letters in is kind of a nod to indie. So it's, you've got independent film, indie films, inverted, and that's what we're calling it.
Well, it's kind of cool because at least at the beginning, you won't, like, Inverted will kind of be acting behind the scenes, like, basically sort of creating
Correct.
this white label site for. So if you're an indie filmmaker and you want to make your own vertical format film, which I think a lot of people are going to be trying to do, you're probably looking for a place to house it. Well, Real Shorts and Drama Box are very specific about the type of content that they want. That's something that Dan found out when he went to that conference, is like this art form that they've created. And again, I feel almost bad that I called it trashy, but like essentially that type of product, that's what they want to do. And so their willingness to expand from that is a bit limited, at least as of right now.
And they're treating it as kind of as a walled garden, if you will. I mean, it's only their content that's going up there. They're acting basically as producer and distributor, right? I mean, that's kind of their model.
They're starting to license other product. So there's a chance that you could take yours and sell it. But what they're buying them for is not a lot.
They're not going to be spending six figures.
It's a tiny amount of money that they're buying this from.
6 figures.
So if you're looking to jump on board with this, and you're looking for a place for this to live, that will make you some money, Inverted is the place that you can go, and we can create the white label, basically your own landing site for your film. Now, eventually, we'll have a place where people can come and view all the films that we host. But
Yep.
at the beginning, it's going to be a lot of this white label, kind of product. And what Flashback has done, which I think is very, very kind of cool, is very similar to what we're doing with Indie Film Fund for the first movies that we're trying to get, is that they attached some people who had big followings.
Yep.
And so the free episodes are going to be broadcast and shared by those people, which will hopefully draw the audience, to pay past the paywall and
Yeah.
watch Pizza Guys versus Vampires. So it's really exciting. I'm excited for it to come out. I think they're shooting for a Halloween release.
The thing that excites me about this is that right now, if you're an independent filmmaker and you're really trying to get online distribution, well, if you're in a standard kind of theatrical format, you've got your streamers, you've got your typical movie theaters, etc. But if you do want to follow this kind of vertically formatted kind of aspect ratio, there's really not much out there for you. You can do it on YouTube, but the monetization tools on YouTube aren't that great. It's an ad-based platform.
You get
TikTok's
so
the
little
same
profit.
way.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Vimeo, I hear they're building out some tools for this sort of stuff. I haven't yet seen those tools. But we're putting our hat in the ring to essentially
on Inverted,
play in this.
Yeah, go ahead. So go ahead.
I was going to say play in this space such that it benefits the filmmaker,
right,
to the maximum amount. Right, like we're, at the end of the day, we are Packed House Pictures. We want to make films. Yeah. All the tools that we're building for ourselves.
Yeah.
But
Indie Film Fund,
we
Inverted,
see value in leveraging those tools to other filmmakers. So that's what we're trying to do. And
in all our instances on Indie Film Fund and in Inverted, the creator keeps the vast majority of
on Indie Film Fund. They keep all of it. They basically keep, if your campaign's for $50,000, you keep $50,000 if you raise it. So
unlike say a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo or something like that, where you get like 95% or whatever. So, and it's all very transparent. Like,
we're on Indie Film Fund, we're bundling up the fees, basically the platform fees and the payment fees on our side. So, when you go to give $25, it'll have $25 to the creator, and then like, I don't know, it's like $2, something like that, to the platform, which pays for fees and our basically our infrastructure costs,
our tiny little infrastructure,
tiny margin.
Just to keep it running and afloat and everything, But
and it's a similar model in Inverted Film, but it's a little bit more skewed on our side to take a little bit more of the revenue share.
We act like the theater essentially. So we've got to pay for. We're paying for the.
The bandwidth costs alone are
the
crazy.
Bandwidth, And here's another interesting tidbit before we get to our movie of the week. But, Flashback was very smart in who they cast. In the project, right? So the idea is that you're stickier that way. You're not relying on just the concept. Like, people have come to watch this person, and so the odds of them buying through the paywall are, and this is a lower cost project. Some of the projects on, Real Shorts or Drama Box can cost up to $10 to get through the paywall. I think this will be like, $3 or something like that. Which, and already in the vertical space, they're developing their own stars. Like, there are people who are vertical stars that, you and I have never heard of, but in the vertical community, they're big names and they've got followings and people want to watch their projects. So it's a fascinating space. The projections for this industry are massive. Like, by 2029, the billions that they're talking about that are going to be generated. And, we're just looking for a teeny tiny
little taste,
slice of billions.
Wet my beak, so to speak, as they say. Wet the beak.
Exactly. So speaking of movies that maybe just wet the beak, or what they made what they made in their sort of initial run. We picked a cult classic to talk about
We
today, a
did.
movie that bombed in the theater, but you absolutely still hear about it today. You can absolutely still stream it today. People still talk about it today. People, especially of our generation. We watched Big Trouble in Little China.
Yes.
John Carpenter.
And it's funny, I didn't realize it was John Carpenter. Like, I remember watching it in the theater. Like, I think I probably watched it on VHS when I was younger. But I didn't know, like, I think Steven Spielberg was the only director I knew about, and George Lucas were the only two that I knew about when I was that young. I was like, I just watched the movies. I didn't really care about directing and all that.
You and I and everyone else who's trying to do what we're trying to do should be sacrificing at the altar of John Carpenter. He is like the ultimate do-it-yourself indie director. So obviously we're going to talk about Big Trouble in Little China,
Yes.
But in terms of just John
Oh my gosh,
Carpenter,
there's so many things to talk about with that.
Oh, so Halloween is still one of the most successful indie films of all time. Tiny microscopic budget, great idea, invented the slasher genre, essentially, but I mean, you're talking about all the things that we were doing on like Inverted, like, I'm sorry, not Inverted, all the things that we were doing on Pizza Guys versus Vampires, all the stuff that we will be doing once we start making one of our hopefully one of our, or more of our 6 movies, on Indie Film Fund. Like, they went out and bought a Halloween mask and they painted it up and made it look like their main prop. They guerrilla filmmaking, no permits, just sort of like, and they made a masterpiece, in Halloween, which is, and he did the soundtrack, like he did the main theme song.
I noticed that he did
himself.
the theme song for Big Trouble in Little China. He did that one as well.
Most of his, he did. And they're very simple. But he was hands-on with the wardrobe, hands-on with the music. He does a lot of the editing. Like he's just sort of this maestro indie filmmaker. And, he did in the mid 80s and this was sort of the last of his big budget kind of studio pictures. He did The Thing, which was a remake, which got squashed by E.T., I believe it was. The Thing came out at the same time as E.T., and it got panned. Like people were like, it's too gross, it's too weird. Which also starred Kurt Russell, which we'll come back around to.
Which film was that?
The Thing, where they're where the guys at they're sort of at this monitoring station, come across this essentially this dog that has been infected with this sort of alien virus, if you will, and it's just this awesome exploration of paranoia with crazy practical effects and a brilliant performance from Kurt Russell, super scary. He did that one, not a big success. And then he did Starman with Jeff Bridges, which was a success. Starman was successful. So Starman is basically an alien life form visiting Earth, inhabits the body of a man who had just died and left his wife a widow. And they sort of have an adventure together, Starman. And then he did, amongst other things, because he did They Live also, which is one of my favorites. But then he does a movie called Big Trouble in Little China, which for John Carpenter was a big studio movie, and at the time had a big budget.
It was
$25 million.
$25 million budget. I mean, that's that's like unheard of back then. I mean,
well, and Kurt Russell was very hesitant to do it because he rightly was afraid that it was going to be a bomb, because it is very weird and sort of defies categorization. Like it doesn't neatly fit into one genre. But that's part of what makes it so cool. Like, is that it's like a whole lot of different movies wrapped into one. It's a comedy, it's a horror, it's a kung fu movie, It's an action movie. Uh, it's it's wild, and at the center of it all is this great performance from Kurt Russell. So you had seen it a long, long time ago, but it had been a
Yeah.
long time since you'd seen it, right?
Yes, and I saw it I watched it on the plane on the way home uh from our meeting with Packed House. Excuse me, flashback. And then I watched it again last night. So I watched it twice.
And
Um
how did it hold up for you?
I enjoyed it. I mean, there were definitely some very cheesy parts. Um there's this monster in there, that's kind of
Like
lurking
almost kind of
behind.
randomly, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like what? And then there was that like eyeball looking, orb
The
thing
Guardian,
that was, yeah, the Guardian,
yeah.
which, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but John Carpenter kind of likes that monster, you know, characters. Like he likes to do those sorts of things. Is that a fair
Well,
assessment or no?
he loves science fiction and he loves horror, and he clearly was influenced
But
by
this was
Hong
like a
Kong
Sasquatch
films.
looking thing. I mean, it was,
Yeah,
like, and it was
yeah, it was
never
crazy.
explained. It was just like this thing just came out from, out from behind the Buddha. It opened up and he grabbed Kim Cattrall and, locked her up and then walked away. It's like, well, what was that all about?
And then he shows up at the end, like
Yeah,
Jack
on the
Burton's
truck,
driving
he
away.
kind of peeks out like he's holding onto the truck, almost like Alien, where the alien's holding
Well,
onto the spaceship.
it's kind of a shame that. Well, I mean, look, here's the both the sad and incredible thing about it is that uh, it's a shame that a movie like that bombed, because nowadays when an original movie comes out and it bombs, like that's a lot of times that's kind of it. Like it's so
Yeah,
hard, I think, to stand out in the streaming world, although it does happen where films will find new life on streaming. But back in the day, if you lived on a video shelf, in a video store, that is where people might discover you again. And once something took off on VHS, if people were buying it or renting it enough, there'd be enough money for it to have made a profit and justified its existence and kind of like live in the culture. Um, and that happened with Austin Powers, several years later, where you get a movie
groovy
that was a
baby, yeah.
bomb that probably would have disappeared. It probably would have disappeared if it were now, but because of VHS stores, video stores, like it got a second chance. And it's a shame that they never did a Big Trouble in Little China sequel, but I'm very glad that it
I ran
became the cult
numbers
classic that it
for
did.
VHS, not VHS, more like video sales, which included probably DVD. And I was only able to get data from 2001 to kind of current. But that was 6.7 million. So there was most definitely VHS sales and rentals from 86 to 2001
Yeah,
that are just, who knows where that data lives. It's
yeah,
just kind of
and
nowhere.
probably more because the movie was more in the zeitgeist at that time.
Right.
So
So, I think it probably made 12 million, all told, maybe 13, maybe 15,
but more than enough to
for
justify
VHS.
it
And
it being there. Yeah.
yeah. So,
But
it's,
it's basically it's an interesting movie because essentially you've got the sidekick playing the main character, which was kind of so when Big Trouble in Little China was first conceptualized as a screenplay, it was a Western. And Jack
huh.
Burton like rides into this town, and there's like a Chinatown and this kind of like old San Francisco-ish kind of place in the 1800s. And his horse gets stolen, and he and the guy who was his sidekick in the original draft, go off and have this adventure, and there's supernatural elements and stuff like that. But
Interesting.
there's no kung fu, there's no, like it. And then the
So
studio
what
liked
happened
the
in the writing
concept.
room when they
Well, the
when they
studio
went to
liked the
do these
concept,
drafts?
and then John Carpenter came in, and John Carpenter loved Hong Kong films, but he also thought it would be really funny to have a main character who thinks he's the main character, but he's actually the sidekick.
Yeah.
And so you have Kurt Russell create this character Jack Burton based on John Wayne, who thinks he's the swaggering hero.
It's all about the reflexes, man.
It's all in the reflexes, but really Dennis Dunn's character is really the main character. He's the one who loses his girl.
Yeah, he does all the fighting. He does
he does the fighting. He goes to chase after it. And the comedic relief is really Jack Burton.
One of my favorite scenes is when they're coming into kind of the main marriage ceremony hall or whatnot, and the guardian, is kind of sitting there in the corner, and they look down and they see it, and then what's his name? Lopan sees it and says, "Oh, go get him." And they all go, they start to crush it. He fires his gun in the air, pop, 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 pop. And it blows a hole in the ceiling, and it knocks him out.
The rock.
And he's just lying there.
When he successfully stabs the one kind of like warrior, and the giant guy kind of falls on him, and he just
can't
stays
get him
stuck
off of him. He's
for...
like stuck. The guy's like just kind of stuck in the fetal position
but to
on top
me,
of him.
the gold in this thing is all of the characters who are in the know about Lopan and the Three Storms and the Wing Chun and all of the all of this goings on in Little China. It's Jack Burton's reaction to those things that's the real gold. Like they'll have a very serious conversation at the tail end. He's just sort of like, what? Like he doesn't get it. And it's just great how straight Kurt Russell plays that. Like he's just like kind of confused, but he goes for it. Like he's like, well, I'm going to keep doing this. It's one of my all-time favorite cult classic movies. And another little interesting tidbit, the Dennis Dunn character, John Carpenter originally wanted Jackie Chan.
Oh, really?
Was who he wanted to bring over. Yeah. He wanted to get Jackie Chan, and Jackie Chan said no. But it's wild to think that maybe, I don't know, that probably would have actually, if Jackie Chan had done that, because it was a box office bomb, maybe we wouldn't have gotten Jackie Chan later. Is interesting. When he came over and did Rumble in the Bronx, I don't know, 9 years later. But there were a lot of, like, in the fights and sort of as side characters, there were a lot of like 80s, early 90s martial arts stars kind of just off to the side in Big Trouble in Little China. And you see a ton of them in the big fight scene at the beginning, when the red and yellow sides face off around Jack Burton's trucks before the Three Storms and Lopan arrive. There's a lot of those guys in there who were really big in the 80s and 90s martial arts movie scenes.
And I had forgot Kim Cattrall was in there. Sidetrack to Mannequin. It was always one of my favorite films growing up, because this is like this weird like side story. The theme song to Mannequin was "Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now" by Starship.
Yeah, Starship.
Remember this?
AKA Jefferson Airplane.
My dad and my uncle's business, the lead, they sold musical equipment. Carvin. They make electric guitars and speakers and bass and amps and all that. And the lead guitarist from Starship, Craig Chiquico, was in Starship. And I got to go see them make the video for that, the music video for
that's crazy,
for that song in Hollywood. So we drove up from San Diego to watch them, and so I love that song.
Was it cool?
Oh yeah, it was so weird, being on a set of a music video in the mid '80s.
How old were you? How old were you then?
I was probably 5th grade, so 85. I was probably 10 or 11.
Did you get to meet Grace Schlick and all that kind of stuff?
No, I got to meet Craig, but I didn't, and
was he cool?
The others came by and said hello, but he was really nice. Yeah. They actually, Carvin has like a whole line of guitars named after him. So.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Well, Starship was huge. Right.
So that's
then.
my Kim Cattrall connection.
But I still love Big Trouble in Little China. It's just one of those amazing mysteries as to why, And I guess actually, you know, sort of the weird, not weird, the lesson that comes along with that is they talk about how the the marketing department did not know how to market
Yeah.
Big Trouble in Little China. So it's weird in that a filmmaker like John Carpenter can instinctively know that a story is cool and that at least someone like him likes it.
Yeah.
And ostensibly if you like it, there are other people with a taste like yours that are going to like it. But finding those people um and connecting them to the material, because it's sort of it's the weird catch-22, kind of the way Hollywood is approaching it now, and the way we're approaching it is that one of the easiest things to do is find an actor or a performer
Yeah.
that people already like and try to bring those people to watch the movie. But just because they like that person doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to connect or resonate with the story that you're trying to tell. Like, really what you'd want to be able to
No,
find
but
is like, yeah.
I think the that's where the power of the internet and social media and kind of the interconnectedness that we all have now versus back then. I mean, think about the only ways that you were going to hear about a film was going to be a trailer, uh, a movie poster somewhere, maybe uh, an ad on TV, and like that was it. I mean, maybe some magazine ads of some sort, but like there wasn't this kind of prolific way to share, you know, information about, what's coming up, who's coming out. Like, I mean, it's so if they didn't
What's
spend
weird
any
is
money on it, like it makes sense that it
yeah.
was going to bomb. So
Well, what's weird is that I don't know. I still don't know what's more like. People talk about word of mouth all the time. Like, in terms of like, when I worked in corporate America, we talked about net promoters all the time.
yeah,
But that it's
the net
really,
promoter score,
yes, the net promoter score.
yeah,
Like it
NPS,
is really hard, really, really hard to get someone to like something enough. It's very easy to get someone to have a bad experience or hate something and tell everyone that they hate it. That
yeah,
is a net detractor. Like, that's actually easy to achieve. Like,
yeah,
people seem very willing to like go see a movie and be like, "Oh, I went and saw this movie. It was a piece of shit." You know, but it's very hard to get someone to go see something and have them like it so much that they actively, on their own, without any encouragement
yes,
or benefit, go and say, "Oh, I went and saw this." And the one that I still remember the most, not that it was the last one to have this, because I certainly have, there have been others in between, but the last one was The Matrix. Like, I
mm.
went and saw Matrix opening weekend, and it did fine opening weekend.
Oh, it
Like,
blew
it
my
was,
mind, man. It was
but
fantastic.
you
I
went
loved
and
it.
saw it, and it was so
Yeah,
much better than what you expected it to be, that you went and told everyone that they had to go see this movie. And so it
I mean, I
actually
think I went
snowballed
and
into
saw it
this.
more than one time. I mean, it was
Oh, I
just
saw it
like,
several times. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, the special effects
So
on that film were just so. I mean, people were doing it here and there, like that whole 360 cam shot.
yeah.
Which actually, I have a friend in LA that was his visual effects team that did that. Um, but like that was so unreal. I
Well,
had
but
never
what's
seen
interesting
anything
is
like that
that,
before.
like Big Trouble in Little China, The Matrix sort of defies easy categorization. It is a sci-fi film. It
Yep.
is an action film. It is a martial arts film. It
Yep.
is a film with big ideas. It's also a film with, that's a big adrenaline rush. And it's sort of like, and the marketing campaign was very subdued as to not give away,
Hmm.
like they had the brilliant part of it was just, what is the Matrix? Like, that was the big thing. Like, what is the
Yeah.
Matrix?
And it was just a
But
poster with the falling letters. I mean,
yeah,
that was kind
but
of it.
the marketing campaign obviously did not get people to the theater in droves. It was the word of mouth on the back end,
Yeah.
but that's really rare. So it's sort of like, as we come up to having, with Pizza Guys versus Vampires, I think we're going to be very reliant on the actors in it to drive initial eyeballs and obviously hope
Yeah.
that people talk about it, and obviously we'll be doing our own flashback. Will be doing their own promotion. We might be doing some as inverted, like, trying to drive,
Well, and
viewers
it
perhaps, or
will
just
also be
interest.
interesting because it's not only just streaming, it's not like it's just on YouTube and people watching it. We're putting up like we're trying this new paradigm, pioneered by, Real Short Drama Box, of putting up a paywall and getting
Yeah.
people to actually pay for the content, like ad hoc, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not a subscription, although Real Shorts does. It's like $80 a month for their subscription. But it's basically, do you want to watch this? Okay, it's going to
It's
be
it's a
$4 or
rental.
$7 or this. Yeah.
It's a rental,
Well,
like before, like
so
when you
with
used to have to rent a video.
I think with our model, once you buy credits and spend a credit for a given scene, segment, you'll be able to go back and watch those if you want. Like, we're not going to charge
Yeah.
you again for it.
Yeah.
So it's like buying it, but
It's like buying it.
not.
It's just going to be really interesting to just see, what
So what will be the
we're able to
pushback,
do.
Against that kind of model? Like,
Well,
what
I
does
think
that
for
look
me,
like?
the
It'd
the
be
big
interesting.
question is just about, like, it's just marketing. Like, you making something good is great. Making something good and getting the people who are going to like it to see it is actually the harder part,
Well, it's
Um,
it's the it's the famous kind of product market fit question. Like, as somebody that builds technology products, it's relatively easy to get somebody. Well, I don't say easy. It's relatively straightforward to get somebody to use your product for free, right? You put
it's
out
hard to get someone to pay
a
for it.
free email or a free this
Yeah.
or free that. Like, people will use it and it's good. If it works, great. It's super hard to get somebody to give you $1, right? It's
Yeah.
super hard for somebody to give money that they have earned in exchange for your product or service. So, like, that's the kind of the true test is, yeah, that, if it's free, yeah, sure, I'll use it. Pay me $4. I don't know. So
Yeah.
that's the true test of value, right? Value is the kind of monetary value we
Yeah.
ascribe to X or Y, and
Well, it's just
time will
it's
tell.
harder to become a cult classic now, like the way that Big Trouble in Little China did, because there's so much out there
Yeah.
that it's hard to sit on that metaphorical digital shelf and be picked
Yep.
up by a kid and turn into something. It's hard. So, well,
Yeah.
we shall see. We shall see as we move forward. But
I think
we'll
the
have.
good news. I think the good news and the positive aspect of that is, as creators start to kind of essentially take more control over their product in so much as its distribution, etc. If they're okay with going an alternate route, they'll maintain more control. They may see just as much. If it's a hit, they'll actually see more,
Yeah.
right? Like, than had they gone with a big studio.
Yeah.
So it, I think it'll all average out. And at the end of the day, if you're Joe consumer spending money, you're supporting the artist. You're not supporting
Yeah. You're not.
Disney, Paramount,
Yeah.
a
Fattening the
massive
wallet
studio.
of some big studio.
Yeah, you're giving more money back to the creator so that they can go do what you like them doing, which is creating content.
Well, and
So,
we as we shall soon be doing. And so
yes.
next week we'll have hopefully more updates with what's going on, and another movie to chat about. And I guess until then, we'll see you guys later.
Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining. Bye.